Boom, we're live. Good morning, people. What is happening? Look at that. We've already got a Miss Amy Olmedo. Good morning, Amy. Have y'all checked out her Monday posts?
I'm subscribed.
Yeah. They're pretty deep.
And I owe Amy, this is my life. I was going to do a post, and maybe I'll talk about that post, but she's going to help get that one out and help me draft it.
Oh, that's right. I saw that.
Need help. Yeah. What's up? Be the beer. The beer. I'll bring that up.
Yes, bring it on. So just a heads up for everybody out there in the Omniverse. Miss Jennifer Lacey is not going to be with us. The famous, the glamorous Jennifer is she's currently in Florida right now, handling some business. And, I was thinking about that. She's been kind of leading the charge or playing a big, gigantic role in planning this huge company-wide event. And I don't know about y'all, but have you ever planned, put so much time and energy into planning something, and then you're worried, is anybody going to show up? So she's there, and
I don't think Jen has that problem. I've suffered from that malaise. But yeah, Jen, if you're, I know whatever you put out there it was amazing. Everybody that got to see it, and then just the legit organizational skills to boot. Yeah, just layer that right on top. There's no factor that situation went down flawlessly, and if it didn't, just being agile too.
Absolutely, and that's so she's been kind of sending text updates with pictures, and it's going. Yeah, here's the thing, Jennifer's like the rest of us, right? She's human, so she was a little, but it's going, exceeding expectations. So congratulations to Jen, and that means everybody's stuck with me. And we got Thomas LeMay up here. We got Miss Amy Campbell up here. Man, we got some comments rolling in. So I want to recognize our people. We got Miss Alex, my BFF. Alex, how you doing? Oh, yeah. She makes me do that every time I see her because we like to have fun. Buddy, our Mr. Buddy's with us as usual. Dr. M saying hello, Saturday, Mumbai, India. It's like Saturday evening right now. Thank you, Dr. M, for joining us because you're pretty faithful supporter. We got the famous Rafael Franca. Mr. Rafa, how you doing with Refine My Site? Oh man, we got support today. Nurkash. Well, not just Nurkash, a bunch of folks out there. We're getting to how should I say it? The final stages of the Lean in Love book. And what we're utilizing a bunch of the quotes that people contributed through the 5S in relationships live streams. So I'm gonna be reaching out to folks. Nurkash, you're one of them. Do you want just your name under the quote? Do you want your name and your family, your organization, your business, whatever? Want to get your input on that so we can include that. We also got Miss Emily J. Hinsley, MBA, says, good morning. What's going on, Miss Emily? I'm willing to bet some of these people y'all too recruited. Am I off?
Nope, not off.
Guilty. Busted.
I went through my LinkedIn contacts and made sure to send out invites yesterday to the people that had not marked attending that I knew were interested.
I love it. Thank you, girl. Thank you so much. We got Miss Yesenia out there from Forney, Texas. James Gable, the uncommon communicator, still rolling strong with his podcast. Oh man, we got a lot of folks. Jeremy Atkinson says, good morning. He's in New Orleans. Wins the week. One of his wins of the week is he helped guide one of his superintendents to have a crucial convo with his superior to let him lead daily huddles. That's perfect, Jeremy, because on the NoBS pop-up, after we got off the live stream, Thomas and Amy and I had this really rich conversation around advocating for the people on your team. and how powerful that is, and more, maybe more accurately, how transformational that can be for the individual. So Jeremy, shout out to you for that. And shout out to the gangsters we have up here today, Thomas and Amy, because they just do it like naturally. Vincent Trevino from San Antonio, Texas says, good morning. What's going on, Vince? Oh, here's a little foreshadow. Miss Demetria Bivens. She's gonna be on the podcast next, Learnings and Missteps. We'll be interviewing her. I'm super excited because she's full of energy. So guys, how y'all feeling today? Feeling a little ready? Feeling a little
Yeah, it's like a band-aid. Just go, right?
Nope.
Just get into it. Hey, Jeremy, that's the best way to do daily huddles. Get new people constantly involved, because it's like anything else with communication. You want to diversify and to like level people up. One of the best ways that I would teach people who are reluctant is get them, and not just force people up to the board and facilitate a daily huddle, but bring them up there with them. And for the first couple times, you're rolling with it, and then he's just like, like the meme, like Homer in the hedge, just so I did that with a couple people in San Francisco, and I actually like texted them that meme, and they were like, that's the way. That's so good. Thank you for sharing that.
This is the way.
Yes.
Love it. Oh, hold on. I'm trying to get fancy over here with my little phone so I could see the other socials, see how things are going out there. So we also have Drick Ortega says, good morning from Denver International Airport. Checking in from the Den.
DEN.
Yes, sir. You ever seen that?
I hope he's not working. Is that a work upload, or are you traveling somewhere? Either way,
he's traveling.
Okay, yeah. But shout out to DEN projects.
Tons. You ever seen the gargoyle over there at the airport? The talking gargoyle?
No. The bucking bronco when you drive in kind of creeps me out. I'm not gonna lie. But the red eyes too, like really, the red had to be red. I got a story. If we got something about Denver Airport. When I was really young, and I grew up in Western Nebraska when I was really young, when that part of the new airport moved out to the west side of town, or I guess east, and we were so excited, and we actually took a trip to Denver Airport when it opened, and just to see the airport. And this is back in the day when you could go and see, like, you can walk all the way in, and it was so chaotic because the baggage handling system didn't work. And perhaps one of my main focuses in my current role is construction quality, and that may have perhaps led to some early on youngster Thomas getting into construction and actually getting to know all of your systems and make sure they're functioning, and testing those systems, and making sure everything's working, and test it, commission it. And that way, when you turn the key on and the people show up and start using that facility, all the features work. So that was instilled in me very on. So all the people out there at Denver Airport, just keep doing the good work, because that's a heck of a site.
Oh my goodness, that is one.
And Charlotte, and Dallas, and San Francisco. Airport work was no joke.
No. We had a little experience at the San Francisco airport, you and I, Thomas.
So you gotta save that one.
We'll hold on to that one.
Save that one. That was such a good one.
That was a really good one. So the last live stream Jennifer and I had, we talked about what did we talk about? The show up, receive, reflect, reciprocate. And that was an introduction into, the first quarter, if you will. And that was not planned. It just kind of worked out that way. We were talking about identifying your impact and owning your impact. And that was because of the requests or recommendations from the NoBS Tribe. We say, hey, what would you like for us to talk about? And identifying and owning your impact resonated the most. So we went with that. Most of y'all got to see that. It's still out there. Had those really good, meaningful conversations, got a lot of feedback and input from the tribe. And where we're going now is where we think we're going, I should say, is talking about like what happens when you start identifying and owning your impact, like the consequences in the neutral state, right? It's not positive or negative. There's just consequences to whatever action we take. And so we had the after party, which, by the way, we got one set up for today. We got the after party, and in the after party, we had, like always, super deep, meaningful conversation in which Mr. Hal Maycomer and Kirby Coates, who says, good morning. Today is her husband's birthday, so happy birthday to Kirby's husband. I should know his name, right? Dummy.
LinkedIn user.
Mr. LinkedIn user. I love it. They asked some questions that forced Jennifer and I to like, ooh, those are beautiful questions. And that instigated the show up, receive, reflect, reciprocate thought. And so now what we're going to do today, and buddy, hope you got your
Zyrtec.
The allergy meds, Claritin. Well, first of all, what allergy medication do you recommend to the NoBS Tribe, Amy?
So the caveat here is I also have severe allergy-induced asthma. So I have quite a combination of things, but personally, I use Zyrtec on a daily basis for helping keep allergies at bay.
That's our client, Johnson & Johnson. So I also support that message. Yeah. Especially North Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I've tried Allegra and the Allegra Singular combination, and it didn't do much for me. So Zyrtec is where we're at right now.
Awesome. Well, and for folks that are like new to, like, this your first time, when we're talking about allergies, many of the conversations we have will elicit sweating of the eyes on occasion. Mm-hmm. And so we're talking about allergies kind of in a silly way. And because we're just goofy that way. I saw a post yesterday or something that San Antonio is like one of the top 5 cities for horrible allergies. So, if I get my eyes start sweating, that's why. Anyhow, so we're going to be talking about that. We're going to have a little cameo from Mr. Steve Martin. Thomas and Amy are going to be checking in, or not checking in, like flooding us, hitting us right between the eyes around how they're showing up differently, or I shouldn't say differently, how you're showing up now and how the tribe has impacted you. And I'm going to do my best to hide and not talk about any of my stuff. But I'm pretty sure y'all ain't going to let me slack on that. And neither will the tribe, because we got comments coming in. And we have some announcements. We have some pretty, let's see. Yeah, we got 3 announcements and they're pretty big. And I'm just going to be a tease and not even tell you when we're going to announce them, but they're coming, baby. So I'm going to go to the comment. Go ahead.
Drop it. Yeah, just drop it. Yeah, whenever. Yeah. We got some names here. I'm looking at the people. Thank you, everybody.
We got Miss Wally Roman. How you doing, sister, up in Houston? Miss you, Wally. I hope you're doing fantastic out there. Mr. George Hunt coming in. Yep. People doing all kinds of good work out there. Herbert Reed. Man, if y'all got to follow Herbert Reed. Have you seen his posts? Are like energizing, like just like get up, go get it, make something happen. Every time he's got a post, I'm like, oh yeah, ready to go.
Or just thank goodness it's Monday. A little in the group chat, like Keep doing that. That's now a required step. If you don't do that every Monday, we're gonna send out a search team. Because you hit that up and you do it super early, and
Yep.
it's like I get that. I'm like, yeah, you know what? It is a good Monday. Let's get after it. Yeah.
100. So we got 2 more. Amy, I'm going to warn you right now. We're coming to you. I got a few more comments to recognize and shout out to our folks. And then we're going to listen to all your juicy details and love and heart that you have to share with us. All right. So Jamie says, I'm just here for the after party. And that woman, she can party like for real, for real. And then we got Trinidad. So I've known Trinidad since 6th grade. She is amazing. Love you, girl. And her recommendation is Zyrtec and Flonase.
Yeah.
And then we got
for me, it just gets dusty in here. I'm not crying. It's just yeah.
Or like everybody, if y'all don't know out there in the Omniverse, when things get a little too deep, for some reason the Wi-Fi goes down too, right?
Yeah.
Amy Olmedo says local honeycomb every morning along with over-the-counter meds. Another value out there for people to experiment with. Herbert says, thank you, sir. And then James Hannigan, he's coming in from Pennsylvania. He just recently ran a Valego or Viego. What's the appropriate way to pronounce that? Valego or Viego? You ever seen that Last Planner system simulation?
Yeah, the Lego game. That's one of my first I get it now moments.
Yes.
Seattle, Washington, 2014. Yeah, bang.
Big. It is my favorite simulation. So James, congratulations on doing that, my man, and glad to have you back. Okay, so folks out there in the Omniverse, keep them coming. Let us know how you're doing, what kind of wins you had. And we are gonna go to Miss Amy. What kind of awakenings have you experienced, had, or elicited?
So the last 6-ish months have been very transformative for me. Starting with just the random Saturday where I showed up to the 5S series because I was following Thomas on LinkedIn and I was hooked from the beginning. I was just like 5S in personal relationships. Like, this sounds like something I'd like, and I don't have anything else to do Saturday morning. Little did I know that it was going to kick open the door for my life to be flooded with lean information and be submerged into a variety of podcasts and videos. So it started with just showing up to the NoBS Tribe every other week and really thinking about the impact, because that's where I came in, as your impact and the ripples of impact. And I think a lot of the time we just do. You don't necessarily take that time to reflect and look around at what is happening necessarily because of your actions in a positive way. We spend a lot of time as a society focusing on the negative outcome and then going through those lessons learned and trying not to repeat that, or recognizing that we repeat it over and over again. And making that mental shift to look at the positive was really powerful for me. You know, we're still going through COVID. It's been a rough couple of years. I've been blessed to be working on projects the entire time, but it's intense, and to be on some very demanding projects in a global pandemic, my shine got a little less bright. So I started just showing up to the NoBS Tribe and soaking it in, and then I started thinking about some of what I do and how it makes an impact. And I've posted about it on LinkedIn a little bit, but I'm gonna write some more about things. And like one of it was Lasagna Love, which is an organization that that you get matched with people in your community to make lasagnas for them. And it's for a variety of reasons. And honestly, I don't care what the reason is of why your household could benefit from a lasagna. My household has it to give. So we've done that for like close to 2 years now, I think, where Friday is lasagna day and just spread the love. And then thinking about how I show up to work has been a big one for me. I'm influential among a lot of my team members in a good way, and I want to continue to demonstrate the leadership and the positivity, and while also being a realist. And so just showing up and encouraging them, and then seeing some of the impact that I've made through my colleagues. And I'm assuming, Jesse, that you're expecting me to talk about the recent GoFundMe.
Yes, bring it.
I was like, if I don't mention this, he's going to call me out on it. So one of our colleagues, she's part of our SPW crew, who currently is now, I will not call her my assistant because that is not accurate. She is my counterpart in a lot of the trailer and craft operations and caring for people. She was diagnosed with breast cancer into December, somewhere in that time frame. It was a process that I was along the ride for the doctor's appointments and the diagnoses. And like a lot of our craft workers, missing time from work is financially detrimental to their household. And she has her oldest son who works on our project too for a different company, her husband who works on our project for the same company, and then they have 2 younger children. And so trying to coordinate like time off and who's going to take care of the kids and who's going to show up to work, and like all those moving pieces when you find out you have an illness that you either get treatment for or it progresses and is going to end your life before the time that you want. So Miss Helen, some of my colleagues and I immediately were willing to step up and help her family in any way that we could. And then we were able to organize a GoFundMe and set a goal for $12,000 to help cover the cost of the surgery she needed and recovery time and lost wages and follow-up medication and just all of it. Between the GoFundMe and the cash donations, I think at this point we've probably raised like $17,000 for her family. And she was able to have the surgery. Her family was able to continue paying their bills. They did not have to go into, tens of thousands of dollars in medical debt. They didn't have to worry about paying for their house. Like, she was actually able to take the time that she needed and get the care that she needed because of that. And she she's told me that I'm her angel and that I gave her a second chance at life. And at first she didn't understand when I started turning over cash to her from people giving it to me to pass on. And she was like, "How am I going to pay this back?" And I said, "You're not. This is a gift. This isn't a loan." And she was just like, "I don't understand." And I said, "I just want you to keep being who you are. Like, you show up and you take care of all of us every day. And now it's our turn to take care of you." And so, yeah, like after she came back, she was just like, I don't know how I can thank you. And I was like, just keep being who you are
Yeah.
and pay it forward. Like, I don't need anything tangible from this. I need you to continue being okay.
Yes.
And part of what drove our team, our project team specifically, and I want to give a shout out to some of our NoBS Tribe. I posted on LinkedIn and I tagged like 150 people. Like, I tagged so many people that I have worked with in the industry, and people that I haven't worked with or met face to face through here. We just know each other through our chats, and several of you contributed, and thank you. It's really meaningful to me. We talk about taking care of our craft, we talk about showing up, we talk about changing this industry, and to have people in my life who are willing to take action on it when called upon is really meaningful. And she is the person who handles our coffee craft service. She has now decided that it's getting hot and coffee is not appropriate all day. So she asked if we can do lemonade service in the afternoon.
And that's not coffee in the trailer. That's for 500 workers in the field in the break area. So
Yes.
if you want to level up your taking care of people on your job site, level up the coffee outside the trailer doors.
Gangsta.
Yeah, no, I really like that. And lemonade. Hey, it's North Carolina. It's getting toasty.
And she cooks for us on a regular basis. Saturday, right now we're running 6-7 days a week, and Saturday, whoever comes in to cover Saturday crew, we make arrangements for a meal to be had. If she's there, then she's going to make it. So last weekend we did hamburgers and hot dogs and a fresh fruit platter, which she was not happy about the pre-formed hamburgers, but we made up for it with the fruit.
So people from Texas on here probably would not be happy either.
Yeah.
Or North Carolina. Yeah.
Not my preference. However, I'm not trying to make things harder for her.
Right.
And
Right.
She goes above and beyond on a regular basis. So
that's like, that's awesome. This is how you can, if you feel like giving back that contribution, show up that way. That's such a good story. That's how, and then, like, think about it. That's how this is a trade person too. This isn't like someone in the staff. This is someone who puts in work, punches the clock every single day.
She's a drywall
gets after it. Yeah.
Oh, I need to
And
get connected
engages with our admin staff and other trades in very meaningful ways, in so deep ways that people are like compelled to support when people need. So it's like, it's a giving, and that giving, when you give something and don't expect anything, it's the trick. When you give something in our industry, it's often tangible, comes with all kinds of strings. And we do it like systematically, with especially with safety, especially, right? So it's like, hey, you're going to get a gift for doing the stuff in the orientation we told you to do. Here's a gift for that. And there's benefit to that because it's reciprocating, but like the idea is like you remove the string and there's no tangible benefits. It's super hard to do. I struggle with it. Amy's got it, and there's a bunch of other people on here that do that well. But when you talk about ripples, it's got dusty in here a little bit. But but like when we truly care about people, they'll come back.
And part of it also is it has been brought to my attention recently that I have a very deep, unwavering respect for the individual. And
Amy, that's what's in my head. Like, you're talking about this stuff as it relates to like how you've been impacted by the No BS Tribe. But the conversations we've had, like that's 100% you. I think it's in you inherently. So I apologize for cutting you off, but I gotta say that. It's like Yesenia says, right? It takes one person to make an impact. And you're doing that. Like I just want to applaud you, Amy. Sorry.
Thank you. You don't have to say sorry. You're right. It is inherently in me. And part of what has happened in my transformation over the last few months, my evolution, has been getting back to being my authentic, wholehearted self. And part of that is because of Brene Brown's Dare to Lead, Emily Hinesley, who's on this call, and Thomas LeMay sucked me into a study action group. And with Jesse, Jen, and Thomas, and Adam Hoontz, at this point, if they recommend me to something or connect me with someone or ask me to do something, I just say yes. And so I knew Brene Brown. She brings the allergies for me and potentially bust you open when you go through the process. But I knew it was something I needed too, and I was willing to do it with people I developed a level of trust with, who I knew would also support through that process. And there was some very defining moments for me in the last few months where I just was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to show up as my wholehearted self, and I'm going to contribute and lead in the way that I know how, and support my team, which includes my craft. It includes all of our trade partners, like just being who I know I am meant to be and removing the armor and just doing the best that you can every day.
My God, beautifully said. So we got here's a question. Y'all best be ready for this one. Amy Olmedo asks, if you're always being the caregiver, who is taking care of you? Woo-hoo-hoo! Bring that heat.
So that's a great question. And it's something that I'm currently working with, like processing, identifying. I will say that I have a fantastic significant other, my fiance Lance, and he has definitely he has earned the title of fiance. He's been along for the ride, and he's very persistent and dedicated. So he also definitely has helped to provide care for me. And then I have some really close friends that do as well, but I'm working on that balance because, yeah, when you're the person who cares for everyone, and I currently have a very large team that I provide a lot of emotional and operational support to, you have to be careful about protecting your energy to a certain degree and make sure that you're doing things that fill you back up. So that's kind of where that shift is happening right now of, okay, like I need to make sure that I get the enjoyment time for me that helps me feel rejuvenated. I make sure that I show up every single time that I can to a NoBS Tribe, as whether I'm a speaker or in the audience, because it fills up my cup in a way that nothing else in my life currently does. And like, yeah, and if anyone has suggestions for, getting the care when you're the primary caregiver, I will happily take those. I'm open to listening.
Love it. So call out Omniverse drop. We got the hints on the allergy stuff. let us know your cheat codes for self-care and how you make that investment and maintain that commitment to yourself. I've read, I'm a fan of Jordan Peterson, which he's kind of controversial for some people. For me, he's not. But on his book of 12 rules for living, one of the rules is to care for yourself like you would care for somebody else. And that totally twisted my brain, or actually made me understand the gap that I have in terms of caring and honoring myself. And so please, NoBS Tribe, drop them in the chat, because we could all use those cheat codes. Where are you at on it, Thomas?
Dusty, man.
He was like, "Oh yeah, Amy's gonna carry this. Great,
this is So Emily Hinesley, who is awesome, was the person who was responsible for bringing Brene Brown into my life. I was afraid. I saw the YouTube, the TED Talk, and I was like, I can't. No, I'm not ready for that one. And here's why. This is why. And talking about becoming the caregiver, especially in construction, because it's so personal, because it's all human beings, right? Mm-hmm. And the stakes are high, the stress is high, there's large sums of money. I mean, I've built offices, I've helped build offices for CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. And it's like, and they're just demanding, right? So it's like the stakes are high and you want to take ownership, but here's the cheat code, Jesse. Give it to your coworkers. Give trust. What I'm saying is you have to give trust, and giving something away when you're taking it so personal is that, like, lowering the water, like to see the iceberg, like to whatever. I'm getting tripped up in my words because I'm just so messed up. But like when you bring somebody to the daily huddle, right? I trust you. This is your first time. I'm gonna walk this with you. Or someone shows up on the job site, doesn't know all this agile. There's Post-its on the wall. There's weird terms getting thrown around. It's like, hey, we run this thing different, and it's okay that you've never done this before, or maybe you've even done it differently, and that's fine too. The main thing is, like, here's the thing. Here's the rule. We're gonna talk. We're gonna use our words, and if we have an issue, we're gonna write it down and show it to everyone to see. So for my thing with vulnerability, it was taking the stuff I'm worried about, putting it on a wall. Because it's like, if she's worried about that, it might put some focus into other people's, like it might influence. But like the only way to do it, the only way to start doing Scrum, do it. The only way to do a daily huddle, do it. The only way to have an effective pull plan, have an effective pull plan. So that first step, you're going to be awkward. People don't want to veer off from conformity, right? And you look weird the first time, and it will be uncomfortable and be messy. I was like, my first 10 pull plans were disasters. But guess what? It didn't matter. It's like, we're just going to get better because we continuously get better. And then when you do that, and you have that reinforcing effect that Brene Brown talks about.
Oh my God. Yes.
You give away all the shame that you're being the first, or you're being innovative, or you're being weird, or you're talking about feelings like a man, right? Be like, hey, I don't know. Here's a construction. I don't know what I'm doing. This is the first time. That's just like not allowed, because we're all experts. But like, you say, I don't know, and somebody else will be like, you know what? I do. And here, let's go. Let's have a conversation. And that takes vulnerability. You have to do it. There's no other way. If everybody's got their armor up, and we've all been there, that's how projects end up in litigation, right? Because there's no way out. We need a third-party arbitrator to help us navigate our communication. So yes. It works both ways. It works both ways. So the cheat code is to taking care of yourself, to take time off, right? You get vacation PTO days, use them. That's part of your salary. If you don't use them and then they go away, that's theft, and it's not illegal and it's not malice, but it's you're giving that part of yourself away. So take time. And then here's the thing, use effective communication methods and trust people. So when you're gone, you don't have to like sit there and worry about it. I still struggle with that. Just like I'm on vacation, but I'm still like on my phone doing that stuff. So how do you do that? How do you not do that? Don't look at your phone, right? It's being proactive.
I have so many things to say.
Come on.
So Thomas is actually the person who changed my view of PTO. And so I've been in the taxable workforce for 24 years now. And every company that I've worked for that I had PTO with, when my time at that company came to an end, I had a PTO payout because I didn't take it. When I was in education, for me to miss a day when I was in education teaching high schoolers, I had to like really have to miss a day because it was more difficult for me to set up the sub plans, find a sub who I knew could handle my students, prep my students in advance for me being gone, and then coming back and like wrangling the chaos. So I just didn't take time off. And then after that, like in construction or corporate America, you just didn't. Like I grew up in an environment where like it was very blue collar. You grind every day, you show up, even when you're off, you're working on something at home. Like there was no concept of PTO. And we were having a conversation about it a few months ago, and Thomas was very adamant about the use of PTO. And it made me take it, for some reason, I finally took it seriously. And I was like, yeah. So I checked my PTO balance and I had like 90 some odd hours. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I hadn't taken any time off since last summer when I needed to go visit the in-laws. And yesterday, my Lance said, hey, I'm done with this semester. He's in college full-time while he works full-time also. And he said, Thursday is my first day of break after this semester. Can I just chill out, like, instead of having to do stuff? And I was like, yeah. And then I said, give me a second, let me look at my calendar. And I checked my work calendar, and there's nothing happening that is critical for me to be there. So I'm going to put in for my PTO on Thursday and spend the day with him. We work opposing schedules. We have a puppy. So I want to be able to take my paid time off and give my presence to my significant other. And I will take care of all the puppy things that day. He will get to actually just have a day where he gets to spend time with us as a family and doesn't have to take care of Bordeaux every 12 minutes.
Yep.
But 6 months ago, if he had asked me, like he didn't ever ask me to take PTO. Like he knew that just was not
an option.
It's and I said this on the last time I was on the live stream that we have to be proactive when we take time off, because this is we're in a project environment. It will keep going, and if we're not proactive, meaning like if we're not lining people out on what we have personally been working on, or if we're not like super clear on expectations, say, hey, in 2 weeks we gotta get this inspection or whatever it is, we have to do that too. So there's like this boundary setting thing where it's like, hey, this is my time, but then there's also like, I'm gonna give like that giving thing. I'm gonna give some things that I'm personally responsible for, and I'm gonna give it to someone and give them a chance, and not like bail on them and just drop it. So if you just do the 5-pager email that just guess what? We don't read that. We don't even read it. Or we'll read it on the end. But like here's a great tip for taking PTO if you're in the field, like an area superintendent. Put it on the whiteboard, all of the things that you need to mark off, and put it by the general superintendent, or put it by the project manager, or put it by an engineer, and be like, my expectation. I took time to write all this clear information. Here's all the paperwork or whatever. Here's the number of the inspector. Here's the trades. Here's the emails. Here's a text. All of this is on this visual board. And when it gets done, just check it off. Just check it off. Just check it off. And then when I come back, I don't have to hassle you to be like, hey, is all this done? Or two, I don't have to like even be like on vacation and be worried about it. I'll walk in and within one look,
you know where you're at.
6 out of 10 things got done. 60%. That's like industry at standard. Great. Awesome. Right. But then it's like, then we can just move on. And that's how we effectively communicate and teach each other. So
yes.
And then you can also like, hey, now you have a system and be like, okay, when I jump off, when I go to the Bahamas for a week and a half, we're going to line each other out. And if we blur the edges, it's like, I think I got this from Buddy, but we blur the edges in between your roles and goals. And help each other out, we get better, and we can move forward on that one. So 100%. I'm not just a proponent of just taking all your time off just to use it. It's you actually use it as a mechanism to like advance other people and give them a shot. And how I learned that happened to me. I got almost all of the times where I got like leveled up was because either somebody moved off the project and I took it over, and I was like, okay, it's my chance. Even when I got assigned to night shift, right? I was like, night shift, let's do it. Let's get it. Like start 5S the job site. You want to know when it's a good time to 5S the job site? Do it at night. So, and then people come back and they're like, damn, this place looks good.
Yep. I was on a project where they had a very clear, and to quote Miss Emily Hensley, clear is kind, simple is kind. They had a very clear expectation about keeping the site organized. And so, they had a system in place, whatever. One of the things was you had like, if you surpassed the deadline or the commitment rather of how long your material was going to be in a certain place, the night ninjas would come in and get rid of it and move it out. Like, and that was the name. Like, dude, you like people were like, man, how y'all keep this place so clean? They're like, oh, dude, the night ninjas. Like, if I'm like, night ninjas, what are you talking about? They said
yesterday afternoon here in Charlotte, North Carolina, on one of our projects, we have the night ninjas.
Yep.
And we don't throw things away, but we definitely organize. And the best time, the same thing. It's like deep clean. So it's like, how do you keep this job site clean? You're like sanding drywall right now, and you can eat off the floor. It's like, we really care about cleanliness, and we hit it, right?
Yeah.
And then shout out to Jason Schroeder. Like, how do you know? Like, set up clear expectations. Emily just posted. Like, I work for the same company Jason used to work for, and all of his fingerprints are still all over the place. I eat it up, but they have posters, and it's like all of the rules. And it's not just like on the door of the trailer. It's everywhere. It's on every floor, and they constantly reflect to it. And then it's like, hey, we're not going to bicker and gripe. We're not going to throw your tools away. These are the rules of engagement on this project. And that goes for, and I know Amy does that same thing. And I'll just shout you out right now. Site orientation out at your project is like, there's this white paper you get from Amy direct. It's like, welcome to the job site. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, this is the directions. This is how you get a badge. And it's like arrows and highlights and colors and patterns. And it's like being super clear is so kind, because it's like, now I don't have to ask questions. Now I'm like on my first day when I'm the most vulnerable. I don't know anybody. I don't know what's happening. I don't even know this job site. Like it's going to take me a while, but like the first out of the gate, even before I get there, Amy shoots you an email and says, this is how you park. This is where you get a badge. This is where you get tested. This is where we do daily huddle. This is boom, 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 boom.
Yep.
Just line it out. And that's so good. And how do I know? I got one and I was like just mesmerized.
Okay.
So yeah, so if you want a copy of that one, definitely hit up Amy.
If you want to use it as a template or get some ideas, I'll happily send it out. So I've been at my current job site at this campus for 2.5 years now, and I've worked in I've operated in 3 different locations on the campus. So and I was up there pre-COVID when I had free reign to go anywhere I wanted. And so I've learned a few things being up there, and it's a very there's a lot of processes and procedures and rules and stipulations, and I try to front load. I'll get that to you, Yesenia. I try to front load people with the information that I know is really important. Like, there is no tobacco use except in right. And in our industry specifically, that's something people need to know.
Yes.
And we have one specific smoke area on our project for 500 craft people. You have to go to that specific place. If you do not respect that rule of engagement, the owner will remove you from campus. Like, you are blacklisted now from being able to work or be on this property. So I make sure to communicate that up front. And by no tobacco use, they mean no dip. They mean no vape. You can probably chew your nicotine gum and wear your patches, but aside from that, if you're not in the smoke, you're not allowed to smoke in your vehicle. You're not allowed to walk off to the woods. It's a very clear expectation.
Yeah.
And there in so many areas in our industry, there is no room for error, because in the best case scenario, you might be reprimanded and lose some money for the day. In the worst case scenario, someone dies.
Yep.
So making sure, in my field operations role, that I'm doing what I can to help set up my team for success before they ever come out there is really important to me. Helping make sure that they get my cell phone number. They are told they can text me, call me, email me. I want to make sure you have all of your documentation before you get out there. I want to make sure that you're up to date on your OSHA 30, because our owner requires it to have been acquired within the last 5 years. So if you've had your OSHA 30 for 12 years, that's great, but we need to get you in a
refresher, baby. You got to get it updated. Yeah. Yep.
And North Carolina has stricter standards than federal OSHA regulations.
Yep.
The site I work on has even stricter standards. So really knowing your information is important. So yeah, thanks, Thomas. I take pride in my technical writing.
And you got a bunch of people out there saying, please give me that copy.
Yeah. And then 2, this is cheat code number 2. And this is the hard one. And this talks about integrity. I'll just go back to Brene Brown, but she says, I get hit with lots of bolts of lightning. It's I'm just an imperfect person, but I'm just trying. And it says integrity is choosing courage over comfort.
Yes.
And you just let it sit there. So it's like tobacco. Someone's got a dip in, hey, we're in Durham, North Carolina, right? Tobacco center of the world. So it's part of the culture. So it's a big deal there. But we're also building a facility that's gonna solve our cancer problem. It's a treatment drug for directly going at cancer. So it's there's 2 competing sets of values, right? So out there, it's no factor. We don't believe in it. And not only do we on this job site, but not in our office, not in our not in our boardroom. And here's the thing: choosing courage is like we don't even allow it. And if you do it, we're gonna not excuse it. Zero. Yeah. Not excusing it. That's the courage part. And it's the same for safety. Not excusing anything. And it's hard because people are like, oh, and it is more work and it is more difficult. Mm-hmm. But the consequences for the excusions that we do, the little slights in a meeting, right? Or the little like banter, those little things, they add up. And if we don't accept it and we'd be like, don't accept this any longer, whatever it is, people come around. They come around, or they'll sort themselves out. Speaking of 5S, and it's the same with keeping the job site clean. How do you keep it clean? You clean it every single day, and you do not accept any mess. Yeah. And it's hard, and people will get violent with you because the conform norm, the bar for quality, talk about quality, is pretty low in construction because a lot of the stuff we build is stick built. So we can modify, we can shim, right? We can chip, we can bush, we can cut stuff off and redo it. But what that costs us, it costs us our time.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe I'll ask you this question, Jesse. I ask you this all the time. And it's like, I was general superintendent. This project right here, this is 222 2nd Street in San Francisco. This is 2nd Street, that's Howard Street. And that's the headquarters of LinkedIn. I was the superintendent, project superintendent, and I would walk to a plumbing foreman, and there was a change. And even though the plumbing foreman, Art, who would show up to the meetings, do all the stretch and flex, do this huddle, do whatever, do all of the things, and within 2 words, I'd be like, Art, or 3, take it down, right? Take that run. I screwed up. I made a decision myself, and now I'm directing you to take your work down. Jesse, how do you feel when that happens?
That is the definition or perfect recipe for insult. I feel entirely insulted and invisible because you told me to do the damn thing. I'm following all your stupid rules. I'm going to all your stupid meetings, and it benefits me nothing. And worse than that, my team, I have to go to my team and tell them, hey, we got to take it down. My team, who put their heart and sweat into the work, are going to take it down to just put it back up again because somebody, right? Like, and usually it's not like, hey, I made a mistake. Oh, there's no ownership of the mistake. It's just, hey, go take it down. And so, like, we're at like 18 minutes. I promised some announcements. I'm going to segue to the announcements here, but in this line of the answer, like those types of interactions are a daily thing on the job. I knew a guy who used to say, I can't stand a superintendent whose plan is at the end of his finger, because that's how they plan. I need you to go here today. I need you to go there tomorrow. And forget about the budget and efficiency loss. Like, forget about all of that. It just sucks because I don't feel like you care about me. Period.
Here's the thing. I do, and I armored it up. Yep. Here's being completely truthful. I would care, and I would be like, Jesse, I'm sorry. But I wouldn't say I'm sorry. I would just swallow it.
Yep.
And I'd hold that in me. And what that did was a whole bunch of controlling behavior, right? Like, you have to just hold that down. So let's do some announcements. But that's how it works.
Yep.
This reciprocating cycle.
Right? It's a reinforcing negative spiral.
Yeah. So when we talk about owning your impact, those little moments, they're fleeting, but they could be reinforcing or they could be damaging.
100%.
And we got to own that.
Yes. So 2 points. We got Herbert. And also, folks, we don't have enough time to bring up all the cheat codes and the recipe, like the stuff that y'all shared. Go back into the comments because there's like tons of value in there in terms of how to care for yourself. And thank you, Amy Olmedo, for posing that question, because clearly it was an important question. Herbert Reed says the first step is to allow yourself to receive that care. We got to give ourselves permission to receive the care. And then Miss Jessica Benton, Jessica, thank you so much. She shared the event on her page to her network. So folks, let's all connect. We've said this many times. Let's support each other. Like, we got amazing, beautiful people in here. Let's follow each other and build each other up, lift each other. And so that comes to one of the announcements. And it just so happens to be about me. And Thomas, you're up to give us a shot at answering the question. But so I have recently, I'm independent now. I've taken 2 weeks off. I am a full-time entrepreneur, consultant, coach, social media mogul, whatever you want to call it. And I am going to be investing my time in expanding my knowledge and my skills and serving the industry, or any industry really, in removing the burden that is in poorly designed work and helping leaders, business leaders, department leaders, aspiring leaders understand how, or discover how they best serve. That's what I'm going to be doing. And the reason I have this quote up here is from Jessica around bringing people inside. That is one of the things as a result of the NoBS Tribe and Jennifer and I starting with the 5S in relationships, I started letting people in. I started telling them what my problems were and what my aspirations were. And here we are 6 months later, got a book coming out at the end of the month. And I've decided to go solo to serve in the degree or the manner that I believe I best serve, as many hours of the day that I possibly can. That's what I intend to do. So that is one announcement. Here's another announcement, and we're coming after you, Thomas. Does this book look familiar?
Oh,
you like that?
That one, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So Thomas and I are going to be recording and releasing some content, a collabo session around the goal. So everybody out there, look, one more time, we just show it to you this way. It is not a skinny book. And Thomas has about half of that in notes. So he's going to be gifting us with all kinds of insights and knowledge on how the book impacted him, and with the intent, of course, to serve and help our industry. So Thomas, coming to you, my man. We got 13 minutes. I don't mean to rush you. But how has the NoBS Tribe impacted you, my man?
Well, I did it on the pop-up, but I guess I'll go back to it. So, one hard thing, and it was like the first live stream, and I got pulled in, and I was like, "What is this 5S?" Because I'm like, I got 5S. Like, I thought I knew. Like, I didn't know. Like, I got the posters, I got the stuff, I got the books, but I didn't know. And I was like, with relationships, I'm like, I gotta check this out. I'm just curious. And you've been putting out some really good stuff on your podcast. And I was like, okay. And then like Jennifer Lacey, I was like, I've seen you at LCI events and chickened out and not even introduced myself. So I'm like, okay, there's two people who I really, really deeply respect. So I'm going to listen in. And we started talking about sorting, and that's putting boundaries around yourself and your relationships. So oftentimes we have time vampires who are dependent on you, or vice versa. And they're only taking. And when we talk about giving, right? Like when do you transition from being a caregiver to right, to caring for yourself? It's the boundary. And that's sort. So when you do sort, and I talk about cleanliness all the time because it's very important. you have to throw stuff away. And like, you can't throw human beings away. We can't do that. But we can set some boundaries around stuff. So it's like, hey, if I'm in a toxic relationship, I need, if I can't get myself out of it, I need third party help. So that gets into the latter part, the standardizing. But just sorting is super difficult in relationships because you have to sit there and like literally run a prioritization matrix on your personal relationships. And then number two, once you've done that priority, you can put boundaries around stuff and be like, now you can control. It gives you back time and you can decide that. And I was like, man, dang it. So I tried it at home, at work, and start saying no and being like, hey, when you do this, this really annoys me. Like those, like set some boundaries. And like people actually will do two things. They'll sort themselves out of your life and go on their merry way, or you can start the repair process. And what that was for me was calling some people back in California. I moved to the East Coast and be like, you know what, I'm sorry. I haven't been a good friend. I've moved off and I haven't made good contact, but I want to continue that. And that was awkward for about 8 seconds. And it was like, you're forgiven. Let's move on. And it's like, this stuff works. I got to come back the next week. And it's like, and I do this motion. It's like, I eat the stuff up. It's so good. And it's just, if you do the stuff, and then it was, I think, Steve Turner with the
the Daily Huddle.
With the Daily Huddle. Was it Steve?
It was Steve. It was Steve Turner in Dallas. Yes.
Dude. Thank you, by the way. Like there is a scrum board in my kitchen full of personal stuff. I won't share it on it. Like if you want to come by and take a peek, there's stuff for me, there's stuff for the house, there's stuff, right? We have the things that we have to do and we have to prioritize it. And if we actually put our stuff up there, one, put all of it, to have a conversation. So it's like communicate effectively, be like, I don't like going to the grocery store because it incites my anxiety. Oh, like I have too many choices, so I get uncomfortable going to the grocery store. But what that looks like, if you're somebody who doesn't mind it, it's annoying. They're like, why are you walking so slow? Why are you breathing heavy? Why are you like, so like, I legit had that conversation. I'm like, I don't like doing this because I get angry because I'm a theory of constraints amateur, but I at least know it. And when I stand in line and somebody has a complicated order and they don't know what they're doing, it's just like, it makes me uncomfortable. I don't like doing that. Don't ever ride an airplane with me either. Oh man. But it's like, all right, you got it. But you have to do like, so then there's trade-offs. So then you like, if you're doing a daily huddle at work, you can be like, hey, I need this picked up, and there's an inspection on 12, and we have the owner walk at 11, and we share everything. We have a discussion about it, and then the other half of discussion is if we have issues or problems or errors or Thomas screwed up the schedule and it's electricians first, then plumbing. And if I go, hey guys, I screwed up the schedule. When we do the plan the next time, I promise to include you in this, right? So then it's like, this is Thomas's fault. We can all rally around that, right? But like when we do that at home or in your personal life, it's just as effective. And I will tell you this, if you try it, and you have to try and you have to do it. And then the third thing was for Lacey, and she was talking about a personal issue at her home, like legit, like I don't need to know this, but now I'm like, okay, Jennifer is not this rock star celebrity. She's a human being with feelings and emotions and needs. And it's like, she got some help with one of her family members, and she had help from, I think she had like a home renovation problem or something seriously happened. And she had to ask for help. And getting third party, because like some of this stuff is so impactful, you can't DIY it in your relationship. So you have to get third party help. And I'm like, that's the secret sauce, is not only do you have to do all this sorting and stuff, but you have to ask for help when you get stuck. So I was talking about like when projects have to have third-party arbitrators, sometimes you need one, and that's okay. So I'll just channel like Hal Maycomer coming in, or now Jesse, or Adam Hoots, or Jason Schroeder. Like I can go on and get these third-party experts, and they can come in and be like, I understand how you build. I understand the system. Let's see how we can navigate through it using this series of visualizations and organization. And when you do all of those things, so you do all the 5 things, you can get to sustain. And how do you sustain? That's the self-care. So then we started talking about all of the self-care, which is eating right and sleeping and like all of the things that you read all the books, and it's like, what's the cheat code? Here's a cheat code to like becoming healthy, be more healthy. How do I stop drinking beer? Don't drink any beer. Yeah, it's hard, and it's hard. It's so hard. So I'll do my post because I do owe it to. I do owe it, but so there's, if you think about it. Speaking of beer, if you think about beer. And when I post it, it'll make more sense. But there's an idea in electrical theory that there's 2 kinds of power. There's kind of the active power, like the active power in beer is all of the process that went into it, right? Like we had to control the temperature, and we had to like clean, sanitize things, all this proactive stuff, just to make it like we have the farmer had to do a good job planting and harvesting the barley and the malt, or I guess it's the same thing, and the hops, and that had to be brought in, and it had to be all this, right, all of the proactive steps, to quality, to the production, to getting it to your grocery store, everything, whatever it is, and then you go select it because it's based on your preference. That's all of that. The beer part, the liquid part, that's all proactive, and it also, that part is the fun part. That makes you a little fuzzy, right? Makes you feel good because there's the alcohol in there, gets in your blood. But that's all proactive. That's active energy. The foam is the reactive part, and the reactive part is the part of the beer that reacts with air and oxygen and nitrogen, and it foams up. You shake it, it gets too hot, and that's all reactive. And generally speaking, that reactive part is, I mean, they even have tools to skim it off. Or the perfect Guinness pour has a little reaction part, but they pour it just right. So you can't ever not be reactive. That's kind of the lesson I'm trying to say. Like, you have to be reactive. Like if you're in a dangerous situation, you have to react to that and deal with that. But if you're constantly reacting all the time, and that's all you do, and then you're taking none of those proactive steps, the head on your beer is the less desirable part, and there's a cost to reactivity, and that cost is your aliveness, right? It's super costly, but it's your aliveness. So when we talk about 5S in relationships, or reactiveness, or whatever it is, or proactiveness, when we actually take positive steps to doing whatever we want to do, which are on our priority list, then we can move towards that. If we're only reacting to that, and it's hard. It's hard. That the world we live in, it's a lot of reaction that we have to do. So you can't ever get away from it. But when we focus our value on being proactive, we can influence others, and that positive influence on others is just so incredibly reinforcing. I guess like the message I'm trying to say is like, it's harder, it's more work, it's uncomfortable, but we're so much better for it. And when we're better for it, like the example that Amy was sharing, our trades come back, and they choose. And then all of a sudden we have our clients, which we work for, suddenly choose that reinforcing cycle over just on cost or schedule. Right. So how do we do that? We have to start doing it. And that's super hard. There's no magic switch, but there are various tools and techniques and focusing steps, and evaporating clouds if you're Dr. Goldrat. But there are many ways, and then like you guys, Jen and Jesse, you just put out that kind of energy, and I'm just drawn to it. And I was so compelled to come here because I was emotionally compelled to, not that I wanted to. And in fact, if you know me, you know I'm not a very socially outward person, but I just wanted to get that, tell that message, and that's part of my story now. And I will say it wasn't always that story. I was mostly reactive, and in fact, I gotten leveled up and gotten promoted and gotten like, and some of this, like, people value this reaction, and you can be incredibly successful by only being reactive. And but what that cost me was my aliveness. And I will choose that over the greedy part of the whatever, right? We have to be secure and safe. But once we're there, once we're in a secure place, and once we're safe to have a good family life and a roof over your head and all those safety things, then you can take proactive steps.
Love it. So, beautifully said, Thomas. Beautiful. So the third announcement, because we're on time, we're at time now. The third announcement is about well, let me say this first. The clubhouse, the after party link is in the chat on the YouTube and the Facebook and the LinkedIn. Y'all want to jump in, ask some more questions, contribute some more, please click the link, jump in, and we'll be happy to continue this conversation. Now the announcement, and I'm gonna get Steve's permission. This is Steve Martin right here. He recorded a video for us. And I didn't play it because we were having some really deep conversation. So I'm going to get his permission. And with his permission, I'll post it to YouTube and share the link with the tribe so we can get his message. Now, the announcement is Wednesday, he wrote a song that was, we'll just say, but from the experience he's had with the NoBS Tribe. And if y'all don't know, he is the chief marketing officer of the NoBS Tribe. That guy puts out some stuff. So Steve Martin, he is going to be performing the song that he wrote Wednesday evening. And he wants to live stream it. So we're going to be live streaming his live first performance of the song that he wrote Wednesday evening. You know, and just a heads up, it may be messy. It may, we're just going to do it. To celebrate him and to celebrate the contributions that everybody in the NoBS Tribe, all the contributors, have made to this experience. So again, I'm going to get his permission. And if I can get his permission, I'll post this video. It's about 7 minutes long. And I haven't watched it. I wanted to watch it so we could have the reveal, the shared experience. Anyhow, I'll get his permission. We'll get the thing posted. If not, we'll figure it out. But with that, y'all, thank Thomas, Amy. Thank you a million times. NoBS Tribe out there in the Omniverse. Thank you so much for contributing. There's tons of value in these comments, man. I swear I have hours and hours of production.
That's why I just kept talking so we didn't have to take any questions. But I will take them in the after party. So yes, we're here. And I said this in a pop-up. It's a required step. You're not 100% PPC until you complete the after party.
I love it. All right, y'all. Amy, did you have fun?
It was great. I'll show up anytime you want me to.
Boom. It's on, girl. All right, y'all. We'll hear you in a couple of minutes and see you soon. Peace out, y'all.